Well, witness testimonies have begun in Donald Trump's trial for criminal hush money payments, facing 34 charges in connection to allegations of paying off an adult film star before the 2016 election. Trump denies these accusations, saying the case is politically driven. DD India's correspondent William Denslow provides updates from New York on this ongoing trial.
House on Monday, Donald Trump once again railed against this case and this trial that he faces. He has described it as election interference, all in an effort to hurt his chances of regaining the White House come November. Monday saw opening statements in this trial. We heard from prosecutor Matthew Colangelo, who alleges that Donald Trump committed election fraud, pure and simple. The prosecution have painted a narrative that Donald Trump sought to dampen potentially politically damaging stories for making it public in the lead up to the 2016 election. The prosecution alleged that a reason why he used a fixer to pay the porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 as a hush money payment was to make it as hard as possible for that payment to be traced. We heard from Todd Blanche, the defense lawyer representing Donald Trump, during opening statements that said that the prosecution laid out a neat narrative. However, he said it simply wasn't true. He went on to argue that Donald Trump committed no crimes. He even said that any efforts to try and influence an election, there is nothing wrong with that. He said simply that is what democracy is. We've also had the first witness take the stand during this trial. That is David Pecker, who owned the firm that controls the National Enquirer. That's a media organisation accused of catching and killing potentially politically harmful stories about Donald Trump in the lead up to the 2016 elections. He's expected back on the witness stand Tuesday. We're also expecting a hearing on Tuesday about Donald Trump's gag order that prosecutors allege he has been violating. They say such violations could result in fines or even up to 30 days behind bars. Judge Juan Machan put that gag order in place in an effort to stop Donald Trump from potentially attacking witnesses during this trial. Donald Trump says it is unconstitutional and has called for that gag order to be dropped. William Denslow in New York reporting for DD India.
Well, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has promised to start sending asylum seekers to Rwanda from July as the UK Parliament passed Rwanda Asylum Bill. Sunak said the government had booked commercial charter planes and trained staff to take migrants to Rwanda, a policy he hopes will boost his Conservative Party's flagging fortunes before an election later this year.
The success of this deterrent doesn't rest on one flight alone. It rests on the relentless, continual process of successfully and permanently removing people to Rwanda with a regular rhythm of multiple flights every month over the summer and beyond until the boats are stopped.
Under the policy formulated 2 years ago and agreed with Rwanda, any asylum seeker who arrives illegally in Britain will be sent to Rwanda. Under the scheme, the government says will deter channel crossings and smash the people smugglers' business model. The legislation is expected to receive royal assent from King Charles later this week and then will become a law. And updates on Ukraine-Russia conflict now. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed gratitude to U.S. President Joe Biden for support and leadership in a telephonic conversation on Monday. Biden told his Ukrainian counterpart that the United States will provide significant new security assistance to meet Ukraine's needs as soon as the Senate passes an aid bill and he signs it into a law. During the conversation, Zelensky also told Biden about Russian air terror through thousands of missiles, drones and bombs, and noted a strike on a television tower in Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv, which occurred minutes before their conversation. Later, in his nightly video address, Zelensky said the legislation still to be approved by the U.S. Senate and signed by Biden clarified that Ukraine would be receiving the long-range ATACMS Army tactical missile systems it has long brought. The Senate is set to vote on Tuesday to advance a $95 billion foreign aid package that includes $61 billion for Ukraine, which the House passed over the weekend. And a Russian air attack on Ukraine's second biggest city, Kharkiv, hit TV broadcast infrastructure, prompting disruptions with the signal. The 240-meter television tower in Kharkiv broke in half and fell to the ground after the attack on Monday. Regional Governor Ole Sirenobov said there were interruptions to the digital television signal, adding that no casualties were reported because workers were in shelters. Dramatic footage from the scene showed the main mast of the tower breaking off and falling down as a cloud of smoke rose in the sky. Russia first attacked Kharkiv's television tower in early March 2022, soon after its full-scale attack on Ukraine. Moscow has recently stepped up its attacks, while Ukraine is suffering a shortage of air defense capabilities. Kharkiv and the surrounding region have experienced the most intense strikes. And British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will announce $617 million uplift in military support for Ukraine on a visit to Poland on Tuesday. Sunak's visit to Poland to meet Prime Minister Donald Tusk is his first international trip for months. Ahead of his visit to Poland, Sunak in a statement said the package will help ensure Ukraine has what they need to take the fight to Russia. He warned Russia must be defeated to prevent its troops from pressing further into Europe. Britain has long been a vocal supporter of Ukraine, and the additional funding will take London's total military aid for this financial year to £3 billion, just days after the US House of Representatives approved a $60 billion package. Meanwhile, a delegation of U.S. representatives visited Kyiv on Monday to tout support for Ukraine. The visit comes following the passage of a $95 billion legislative package providing security assistance to Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. Both Republican and Democratic representatives spoke to the media and paid their respects at the Memory Wall of Fallen Defenders of Ukraine after meeting President Volodymyr Zelensky.
To the President, U.S. assistance in Ukraine is in good hands. I am confident that with the stringent oversight and accountability measures in place to ensure that our aid is not subject to fraud, corruption, or diversion. And once on the battlefield, we know that U.S.-provided weapons will be put to good use.
The bipartisan spirit we have here is an indication we can get the job done. But I always have felt that the support for Ukraine was there, it was strong. It was really just working its way through a Congress that is having difficulty even sometimes getting its own budget on time.
While in the Novovikhovka in eastern Ukraine, Russia said its forces had taken control of the town, but Ukraine's military fighting there said it was still in control of the village. Heavy battles in the area, some 40 kilometers southwest of the Ukrainian city of Donetsk, have been going on for weeks. This was the second advance Moscow has announced in 2 days. On Sunday, Russia said it had taken control of the settlement of Bohdanivka further to the north. Bohdanivka lies northeast of Chasiv Yar, a strategic town located on high ground, which, if captured, could open up the way for Russia to advance on several fortress cities in eastern Ukraine. And an independent review of the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees noted that Israel has not presented evidence to support its claims that UNRWA staff were members of terrorist groups. The United Nations appointed former French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna to lead the UNRWA neutrality review in February after Israel alleged that 12 of UNRWA staff had taken part in the Hamas-led October 7 attacks on Israel. The report said Israel had made public claims based on an UNRWA staff list provided to it in March that a significant number of UNRWA staff were members of terrorist organizations. However, Israel has yet to provide supporting evidence of its claim.
Overall, the findings of the review are that UNRWA has in place a very significant number of mechanisms and procedures to ensure compliance with the humanitarian principle of neutrality. We've written that UNRWA has not received evidence by Israel. Not that there is no evidence. It's very different. So please, again and again, refer to the content of the report and not to what you hear sometimes about it. I would really appreciate if you could base your comments and base your judgments on the content and not on preconceived opinions.
Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday said that the United States is looking into allegations of human rights abuses by Israel in its operations against Hamas in Gaza. Unveiling the State Department's annual human rights report, Blinken denied the United States as a double standard when it comes to Israel and human rights.
Do we have a double standard? The answer is no. As this report makes clear, in general, as we're looking at human rights and the condition of human rights around the world, we apply the same standard to everyone. And that doesn't change whether the country in question is an adversary, a competitor, a friend, or an ally. And that's hugely important.
Well, the U.S. State Department on Monday said Hamas moved the goalpost in ceasefire talks with Israel. In a media briefing, State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said Hamas has signaled that they don't want an agreement.
Has then changed their demands. And so it certainly does seem like Hamas is more interested in a full-scale regional war, that they were watching the events of the past few weeks and making the determination that they might get the full-scale regional war they were hoping for, and so have not agreed to a very significant proposal that was on the table. And so we will continue to push for an agreement because we believe it's in the interests of Israel. We believe it's in the interests of the United States. We believe it's in the interests of the broader region. But it takes two to make an agreement. And right now, Hamas has signaled that they don't want an agreement.
Families of Israeli hostages of the Be'eri kibbutz gathered at the Hostages Square in Tel Aviv on Monday evening to attend a Seder in support of those who held captive in Gaza by Hamas since October 7th. Kibbutz Be'eri community was one of the main targets. Many who joined the Seder dinner said they could not fully celebrate freedom this year. Passover, starting on Monday evening, is traditionally observed with the Seder, a holiday feast when families gather and celebrate the biblical account of the Israelites' freedom from Egyptian slavery. And still to come on DD India News Hour. U.S. Supreme Court scrutinizes anti-camping laws. The court considers whether sleeping outside qualifies as an offense. Another massive earthquake rattles Taiwan east coast again within 3 weeks. And Bangladesh reels under severe heat wave. Heat wave alert extended for 3 more days.
Hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters, with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, the United States Supreme Court on Monday confronted the nation's homelessness crisis. The Supreme Court wrestled with major questions about the growing issue of homelessness as it considered whether cities can punish people for sleeping outside when shelter space is lacking. The justices heard arguments in an appeal that enforcing these anti-camping ordinances against homeless people violates the U.S. Constitution's 8th Amendment prohibition on cruel and unusual punishments. It's the most significant case before the High Court in decades on the issue and comes as record numbers of people are without a permanent place to live in the United States. The case started in Oregon's Grants Pass, which began fining people $295 for sleeping outside as the cost of housing escalated. According to U.S. government estimates, on a given night in the United States, more than 600,000 people are homeless. And just 3 weeks after a 7.2 magnitude quake hit Taiwan, more than 80 earthquakes struck the country's east coast starting Monday night and into the early hours of Tuesday. The strongest tremor was recorded at 6.3 magnitude. The Marshall Building and a hotel in Hualien, which had already been damaged during April 3rd's quake, tilted to the side. The new series of quakes was centered on the largely rural eastern county of Hualien. There were no reports of any casualties. And in India's Laura Westbrook joins us from Hong Kong for more on the quake. Well, Laura, Taiwan again hit by dozens of earthquakes in less than 24 hours. What's the scene right now?
Yeah, there have been more than 1,000 aftershocks since that earthquake took place about 3 weeks ago in Taiwan. And overnight, I was looking on social media and one resident said they felt 20 aftershocks in just a couple of hours overnight. Into the morning, there have been around 180 aftershocks recorded last night into Tuesday morning local time, according to Taiwan authorities. And this, of course, comes after that 7.4 magnitude earthquake that took place on April 3rd. That killed at least 17 people and really rocked the country. The epicenter of this quake was in Hualien province. This is a very mountainous area, and we have heard reports that 2 buildings there have been damaged. They also suffered further damage from these aftershocks and were leaning to one side. But there are no reports of casualties. And but the Hualien authorities said that they have closed down the schools. They are taking precautions because of these, very serious aftershocks that are been rocking the country.
All right. Any warning issued right now because of the aftershocks?
It looks like the country is monitoring what's happened. They've taken precautions, like I've said, like to close schools. They've also closed work today. And we do have to remember that Taiwan does lie in the junction of tectonic plates. So earthquakes are common here, and it is also common to get aftershocks after a very big earthquake like we saw. But what some have expressed maybe some concern about is how big these aftershocks are. The largest one, as you mentioned, was 6.3 magnitude, and that is causing some concern amongst the residents in Taiwan.
All right, thank you so much, Laura, for that update from Taiwan. And moving on, peace talks between the Colombian government and the National Liberation Army rebels will resume in May in Venezuela. The peace talks to resume over a month later than initially scheduled after the guerrilla suspended the talks, accusing the government of parallel negotiations. The announcement is the latest development during President Gustavo Petro's peace process with the ELN, which restarted at the end of 2022 as part of his efforts to end Colombia's 6-decade conflict that killed at least 450,000 people. The guerrilla group said the suspension was due to the unfair and dishonest government regional talks and an attempt to demobilize the ELN there. The government responded the dialogue must not be delayed. And some weather news now. The Bangladesh Meteorological Department has extended the heat alert for 3 more days from Monday. Meteorologist Mohammad Bazlur Rahman said the prevailing extreme heat wave may linger in Bangladesh for the next 72 hours starting from Monday. Bangladesh's highest temperature was recorded at 42.2 degrees Celsius in Chaudhanga on Sunday. 4 people died from heat stroke in Bangladesh in the last 3 days. The heat wave condition forced the authorities concerned to close all schools, madrasas and colleges till April 27th. Dhaka University authorities also announced to hold classes online due to the scorching heat. And we're now joined by our correspondent Naval Singh Parmar for more on the heat wave in Bangladesh. Well, we wanted to know the Bangladesh Meteorological Department has extended the heat alert for 3 more days. What's the situation right now there?
Actually, first of all, they issued heat wave warning or issued bulletin on 19th of April for these 42 hours, 72 hours. And then on Monday morning, they extended further 72 hours in the Bangladesh, considering the prevailing situation in the country. Especially northern and northwestern and northeastern part of Bangladesh is experiencing very severe heat waves. Particularly Chodanga and Pabna district are experiencing very severe heat waves in Bangladesh. And Chodanga witnessed the highest temperature of the season, 42.2 degrees Celsius on Sunday. And around 4 to 5 people in different parts of Bangladesh lost their life due to heat waves. And concerned authority in Bangladesh issued a warning, as well as they suspended the classes for school and colleges till further order. And many of the institutions and the government bodies are also issuing warning and advisories to keep rehydrate, avoid direct exposure to sunlight, and the proper use of proper clothing and everything. Yes.
All right. Also, Naval Singh, what are the authorities doing further to control the damage and trouble to the people there?
Actually, government asked to hospitals in Bangladesh to be prepared to meet the emergency related to heat wave conditions, because many people are those who are working on daily labors, and they have a direct exposure to sunlight. Many of them get fainted, and they need a rehydration or some emergency medical help. So government issued advisory to hospital to be prepared to such kind of emergency cases.
All right. Thank you so much, Naval Singh, for that information from Bangladesh.
Thank you. Thank you.
And moving on, Thailand also experienced an intense heat wave on Monday, with maximum temperatures ranging from 38 to 43 degrees Celsius. Following the heat wave, Thailand's Marine and Coastal Resources Department reported that 1% of the coral reefs have started bleaching. Coral reefs around New and Mu Islands are being monitored for possible bleaching amid rising sea temperatures. Also, floods swamped cities in southern China's densely populated Pearl River Delta following record-breaking rains, sparking worries about the region's defenses against bigger deluges induced by extreme weather events. The downpours have killed 4 people and 10 others remain missing in the province as of Monday. Across the province, 36 houses collapsed while 48 were severely damaged, resulting in a direct economic loss of nearly 140.6 billion yuan. Many rivers remained swollen on Monday, however, at levels above safety thresholds, with rainfall in recent days 2 to 3 times more than normal at this time of the year. In China's Guingyuan, a city of about 4 million people in the southern Guangdong province, some residents on Monday counted their losses from the devastating floods that swamped their homes after unusually heavy, sustained and widespread rain hit days before. Since last Thursday, Guangdong has been battered by powerful storms, ushering in an earlier than normal start to the province's annual flooding season in May and June. And severe storms ripped through many regions of Turkey over the weekend. Heavy downpour and strong winds reaching 118 kilometers per hour affected the southern, western and northern regions of Turkey, including the capital Ankara. Trees were toppled and countless roofs were torn off. No casualty has been reported so far. Well, on the other hand, a wave of cold weather of Arctic origin brought heavy snowfall to northern Italy on Monday. Heavy snowfalls hit the Alps with more than 1 meter of snow in northern Italy's Prato Nevosa ski resort. Following the summer heat of the last few weeks, a winter disturbance arrived from the Alps to the Apennines and is expected to remain for at least another week. U.S. President Joe Biden on Monday announced $7 billion in grants for residential solar projects to power nearly 1 million low-income households. Marking Earth Day celebrations, Biden revealed the funding in a speech at a national park in Virginia. The $7 billion of solar funding included in Biden's climate change law. The Inflation Reduction Act will create 200,000 jobs and save households about $400 a year. He also announced that applications are open to join the American Climate Corps, a program to prepare young people for jobs in climate-related industries. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Hundreds of indigenous people gathered in Brazil's capital on Monday for a 5-day protest camp to defend their land rights and discuss rights and policies for indigenous people. Warriors in feathered headdresses danced, chanting ritual songs on the first day of mobilization. Armenians on Monday held protests against the transfer of 4 villages to Azerbaijan, agreed by the two countries on April 19th. Armenia has agreed to return several villages to Azerbaijan as they edge towards a peace deal after fighting 2 wars since the collapse of the Soviet Union. Russia marked the 300th anniversary of German philosopher Immanuel Kant with the reopening of Immanuel Kant Museum in Kaliningrad city on Monday. The museum displayed an enhanced exposition of artist works dedicated to the philosopher. Kant was born, lived and worked in former Eastern Prussia. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India gears up for second phase of polling. Campaigning for second phase gains momentum. We'll take a deep dive into why Kerala matters as India decides in 2024. And renowned sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik creates sand art of Lord Hanuman to mark Hanuman Jayanti.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana. Now a quick recap of the headlines again. New York jury hears opening arguments in the criminal hush money case against Donald Trump. Prosecutors say he broke law and corrupted the 2016 election. Defense says former US president committed no crime. UK Parliament passes Rwanda asylum bill. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak vows to start sending asylum seekers to Rwanda within 10 to 12 weeks. Ukrainian President Zelensky thanks US President Biden for support in securing passage of military aid bill. Says Ukraine would be receiving long-range missile systems it has long sought Senate to vote today. And in sports, Spain's World Cup winning footballer Aitana Bonmati was named Sportswoman of the Year, while Serbia's Novak Djokovic captures the top men's honor at the Laureus Awards ceremony. And now let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Well, political parties in India are gearing up to woo voters in their favour as second phase of general election 2024 nears. India's Prime Minister and Bharatiya Janata Party senior leader Narendra Modi will address public rallies in the central state of Chhattisgarh and northwestern state of Rajasthan today. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will address a public gathering in northern state of Uttar Pradesh and eastern state of Bihar. While Home Minister Amit Shah will participate in public rallies in eastern state of West Bengal, southern city of Bengaluru and western state of Maharashtra. Whereas BJP President JP Nadda to address public meetings in central state of Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will also hold a roadshow in the state's western city of Meerut. While Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will hold public meetings in southwestern state of Karnataka, Congress leader Sachin Pilot will also hold an election rally in southern state of Kerala's Alappuzha city. He'll be participating in the rally in support of AICC General Secretary K.C. Venugopal, who is contesting the Lok Sabha elections. Bihar's Chief Minister and Janata Dal United Party Chief Nitish Kumar will hold roadshow in the state's Bhagalpur city. Samajwadi Party Chief and former Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Akhilesh Yadav will also hold public meeting in UP. Bahujan Samaj Party Chief Mayawati will also address a public meeting in Uttar Pradesh. Well, God's own country, Kerala, gets the first spell of rains in India. The coastal state has the highest female-to-male ratio and is also the paradise of Ayurveda. Kerala boasts of the first church, mosque and synagogue of India and is also known as the Spice Coast of the country. A deep dive into why Kerala matters as India decides in 2024.
The South Indian state of Kerala, a land of lush landscapes, backwaters, beaches and Ayurveda. Popular among tourists across the globe as God's own country. Kerala is also called Keralam in Malayalam, which is the official language of the state. It is located on the Malabar coast of India and was formed in 1956. It consists of 14 districts and its capital city is Thiruvananthapuram. Kerala has the highest literacy rate at 96.2%, the highest life expectancy of 77.3 years. Kerala is also the least impoverished state in India. India's apex public policy think tank Niti Aayog's multidimensional poverty index put the headcount ratio for Kerala at 0.71%, the lowest among states in India. It is also known for Ayurveda, a traditional Indian system of medicine which is a player in increased medical tourism. Kerala is the first child-friendly state in the world. This rare achievement of Kerala was under the global initiative Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative sponsored by WHO UNICEF. After the first ever elections to the Kerala Legislative Assembly in 1957, the Communist Party of India emerged as the single largest party. EMS Namudripad formed the first elected government with the support of 5 independent legislators. The government was not able to complete its full 5-year term. However, leader Namudripad is the first communist leader in India to head a popularly elected left government. In Kerala, there are 2 main political parties and several smaller ones. The Communist Party of India, Marxist, and Indian National Congress are the 2 major parties. Other parties in the state are CPI, Kerala Congress, Muslim League, and Bharatiya Janata Party. Left Democratic Front and United Democratic Front are 2 main political alliances in Kerala. The LDF is led by the Communist Party of India, Marxist, and the UDF is led by the Indian National Congress. The Bharatiya Janata Party got their first seat in Kerala Legislative Assembly in 2016. The 2021 Kerala Legislative Assembly election was held in Kerala on 6th of April 2021 to elect 140 members to the 15th Kerala Legislative Assembly. The election saw the incumbent LDF retaining power with 99 seats, marking the first time that an alliance won consecutive terms in the state since 1977. The UDF won the remaining 41 seats, 6 less than in the previous election. The National Democratic Alliance received a dip in vote share and lost their lone seat. Pinaraya Vijayan won and became the first Chief Minister of Kerala to be re-elected after completing a full 5-year term in office. In the 2019 general elections, the Indian National Congress led United Progressive Alliance swept 19 out of 20 seats in the state. The Bharatiya Janata Party led National Democratic Alliance, which formed government at centre, couldn't win any seats but gathered around 15% of the vote share. In the current scenario, with 27.1 million electors in the state, political parties and the voters are looking forward to the upcoming general elections.
Well, about 80 kilometers from Jammu city, Northern Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, is Riyasi, where the primary means of livelihood is farming. Our correspondent Nandita Dagar travelled to Riyasi and filed this report.
It is election season across India, and in the northernmost union territory of J&K, the Jammu constituency, it is the season for harvest too. 80-year-old farmer Doordarshan Sharma is busy with his harvest of wheat crop. He arrived in India from Lahore at the time of partition when he was a toddler. He is content with life for the most part. He still wishes though for a perennial water supply for his crops.
These crops did not receive water. This much happened without water. If proper water is given in farming, the yield can double. Only 2 crops can be taken in a year, in the Rabi and Kharif seasons. With water, 4 crops can be taken in a year.
His 2 sons and his wife help him in the farm. His wife Tara Devi now has an LPG gas connection, but once in a while loves to cook on the earthen chulha. She makes sure that other women vote. Traditionally, they haven't voted in large numbers here, but things are changing.
I encourage everyone to vote, reminding them not to waste their vote.
It all looks idyllic with Doordarshan Sharma having tea with his wife as she cooks green vegetables for the dinner. Here in Riyasi, farmers like Doordarshan Sharma live a quiet and peaceful life. Notwithstanding that, they do face a few problems here and there when it comes to their farming. But one thing that all of them are sure of is that they have to vote on the polling day. With camera person PK in Riyasi in Jammu constituency, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
Well, for more, we have our correspondents joining us from the ground. Nandita Dagar joins us from Jammu and Vishal from Jaipur. Well, good morning, Nandita. My first question to you. Voting in Udhampur will be conducted in the second phase on the 26th of April. How are the preparations going on there? Who are the important candidates?
Actually, voting in Udhampur has already taken place on the 19th of April. It's going to take place in the Jammu constituency, Lipakshi. And the story that you just saw was of the Riyasi constituency segment, which falls in the Jammu constituency. Here we see actually direct fight, a 1-to-1 fight between the Indian National Congress's Raman Bhalla and the incumbent Jugal Kishore Sharma. The people over here are actually not facing many livelihood issues. They are generally prosperous, but a few things like infrastructure development, roads, which have actually picked up in the past 6 to 7 years. In the past 6 to 7 years, they are seeing a flurry of roads, bridges, etc. come up to farther places in the border, and connectivity is actually being given a boost here. So as far as the farmers are concerned, they wish for perennial water supply, because the crops that they grow here are generally not dependent on a perennial irrigation supply. They are dependent on the monsoons as well as the rains, the seasonal rains. So generally the people are prosperous, but it's just that the normal issues of sanitation, cleanliness, infrastructure development, roads, connecting of roads to the border villages, these are some of the issues that the voters will be casting their lines on.
All right. Good morning, Vishal. My question to you, voting for the Tong-Savai Madhupur constituency, if we talk about, is in the second phase, the 26th of April, and it has had a lot of exchange of political barbs between parties. Prime Minister's rally also being held today. Can you tell us more?
Well, a very good morning to you, Dipakshi. Let me tell you that right now I'm in Udaipur, which is called the Venice of East, and I'm traveling in the state because the second phase and final phase would be held on the 26th of this month. My final destination would be the city of Kota. When it comes to the second round, BJP is moving far ahead as far as Congress is concerned, because the Prime Minister yesterday he was there in a different place, and today he was in Paswada day before yesterday, and today he is in Unyara, which is Tong-Savai Madhupur seat. But from the Congress side, there has not been any star campaigner. There have been demands of for central leaders to come and hold rallies, but they are nowhere to be seen as far as campaigning for the second phase is concerned. 13 seats are up for grabs. And let me tell you that today Prime Minister would be holding a rally in Unyara, which falls under the Tong-Savai Madhupur constituency. BJP has been the winner in the last two elections. Sukhbir Singh Jaunapuriya is the BJP candidate who is trying his luck for the third time, while Congress has changed its candidate, and Harish Meena, who is the former Director General of Police of Rajasthan, is contesting from Congress. So it is going to be an interesting competition between the two parties. Meena versus Gujjar is the caste factor that is there in Tong-Savai Madhupur, though it's a general seat.
All right. Thank you so much, Vishal and Nandita, for that update from your respective places. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Indian naval sailing vessel Tarini returned to her base port in southern India's Goa after a historic trans-oceanic expedition of nearly 2 months. The expedition was by women's officer of the Indian Navy, Lieutenant Commander Dilna K and Lieutenant Commander Rupa A. The two officers are set to undertake their monumental voyage around the globe on INSV Tarini in September later this year. Professor Naima Khatoon becomes first ever woman to be appointed as the new Vice Chancellor of 123-year-old Aligarh Muslim University. According to the official AMU notification, Naima Khatoon has been appointed as the Vice Chancellor of AMU for a period of 5 years. Devotees offer prayers and take a holy dip in the Saryu River on the occasion of Chaitra Purnima in India's Ayodhya. The full moon day of Chaitra month, also known as Chaitra Purnima, holds a significant importance in the Hindu calendar, marking the first full moon of the Hindu New Year. India's Madurai remained awake through the night to witness Lord Kazangaga's entry into Vaigai River as a part of Chittirai festival. Devotees sprayed water on the Lord as part of the tradition. Chittirai festival is an annual Tamil Hindu festival celebrated in the city of Madurai during the month of April. Devotees gathered in large numbers at Hanuman temple in different parts of India to celebrate Hanuman Jayanti. Hanuman Jayanti is a Hindu festival that marks the birth anniversary of the Hindu deity Hanuman. Renowned sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik created a sand art of Lord Hanuman to mark the occasion of Hanuman Jayanti. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Yashasvi Jaiswal's brilliant century leads Rajasthan to a 9-wicket win over Mumbai Indians. In football, Inter Milan wins their 20th Serie A title. And we'll show you full-bloom mustard fields in India's J&K, attracting tourists.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and on to some business news now. Investors scaled back safe haven bets on Monday as worries over a wider Middle East conflict eased, boosting world equities and pressuring gold, oil and bond prices. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.67%, the S&P 500 gained 0.87%, and the Nasdaq Composite gained 1.11%. Well, Asian shares extended gains on Tuesday, taking cues from Wall Street as focus shifts to earnings results from U.S. tech giants in the week, while a still strong dollar pressured the Japanese yen to fresh 34 years highs. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan rose 0.5%, helped by a 1% jump in Taiwanese shares and a 0.8% advance in Hong Kong's Hang Seng index. The Asian index rose 1% the day before on easing fears of a major escalation in the Middle East conflict, recovering some of the 3.7% losses last week. Japan's Nikkei edged up 0.1%. The beleaguered yen kept hitting fresh 34-year lows. It firmed 0.1% to 154.71 per dollar after plumbing another fresh low of 154.85 overnight. Argentine President Javier Milei boasted on Monday that his government is successfully taming profligate public spending, touting a rare first quarter surplus that he argues is key to improving economic prospect in the Latin American nation. Milei took office in December, pledging to enact an economic shock plan in a bid to lower triple-digit inflation and reverse a prolonged economic slump marked by the steady deterioration of the peso currency and growing poverty. Milei announced that his government had logged a financial fiscal surplus of more than $315 million in March.
I want to announce the national public sector logged in March a financial surplus of over 275,000 million pesos getting after over 20 years. A financial surplus of 0.2 of the GDP during the first quarter. This is the first quarter with financial surplus since 2008.
Well, tensions between Australia and the social media platform X's owner, Elon Musk, has grown over the removal of footage showing a deadly stabbing in a Sydney church. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has referred to Elon Musk as an arrogant billionaire who thinks he is above the law. Australia's cyber regulator had ordered X to remove the footage of the alleged stabbing of Bishop Marmari Emmanuel last Monday evening, but X had only blocked access from Australia pending a legal challenge. Earlier, in an urgent last-minute federal court hearing, the court ordered X to hide posts globally containing the footage.
He's showing his arrogance. He's a billionaire over there in the United States who thinks he's above Australian law. And he's fighting for the right to show violent videos on his platform, something that can cause damage to young people, we know, and a great deal of distress, something that will add to social division. The E-Safety Commissioner has made a ruling. The other social media platforms all complied without complaint. This is a measure that has a bipartisan support in this country. Australians are united. This isn't about censorship, it's about common sense and common decency, and Elon Musk should show some.
While we're watching DD India News, time now for some sports news. Inter Milan won their 20th Serie A title on Monday after a 2-1 win at AC Milan gave Simone Inzaghi's side an unassailable lead in the standings. Inter have suffered only one league defeat this season, holding a 17-point advantage over second-placed Milan with 5 matches remaining. A header from Francisco Acerbi in the 18th minute and well-placed low shot from Marcus Thuram 4 minutes after the break were enough for Inter to claim victory. And in cricket, Yashasvi Jaiswal scored a sensational century as Rajasthan Royals beat Mumbai comfortably by 9 wickets in the ongoing Indian Premier League on Monday. Chasing a 180-run target, Jaiswal scored a brilliant 104 of 60 deliveries. It was Rajasthan's 7th win of the season and they extended their lead at the top of the table to 4 points. Jaiswal was assisted brilliantly by Jos Buttler and Sanju Samson. Earlier, Sandeep Sharma took his first 5-wicket haul to restrict Mumbai to 179 for 9 in 20 overs. Tilak Verma was the top scorer for MI with 65, while Nehal Vadhera scored a quick-fire 49. Meanwhile, Chennai Super Kings and Lucknow Super Giants will face each other for the second time in the last 4 days when they take the field today in Chennai. Revenge will be on the minds of CSK stars as they were handed an 8-wicket defeat by LSG last week. That win saw the KL Rahul-led side pull level on points with the reigning champions in the ongoing IPL 2024. LSG now have 8 points from 7 games, having won 4 games and lost 3. CSK have the same record but have a superior net run rate compared to LSG. And Spain's World Cup winning midfielder Aitana Bonmati was named the Sportswoman of the Year, while Serbia's Novak Djokovic captured the top men's honour at the 24th annual Laureus Award ceremony on Monday. Bonmati has previously cemented a place at the top of the women's football by winning FIFA's The Best Ballon d'Or and the World Cup MVP, among other accomplishments. She made her way onto the stage for a second time on Monday as the Spanish women's football team were named Team of the Year. Meanwhile, 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady handed Djokovic his 5th Laureus Award after the top-ranked tennis player enjoyed a remarkable 2023.
Thank you so much.
Well, the full bloom of mustard fields in India's Jammu and Kashmir attracts tourists and serves as a mesmerizing spectacle that entices tourists to behold the region's natural charm and scenic beauty. Tourists stop to the field to admire the beauty of the yellow mustard fields. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.